Hi, welcome to VNN, to our discussion series number 19.
Yes.
That's quite a way. welcome to VNN, Praveen.
Thanks, Bala, for having me again over here.
A lot of interesting things happening this week in India and in the world.
Not very interesting, but then it keeps us busy. Yes,
Yeah, it
of
keeps you
course.
busy. I know. Boris Johnson, the British Prime Minister, is in India. I think he's leaving India today after the press
I think so.
conference.
He's got the press conference.
What is the purpose of this visit at this particular time?
First of all, this is a visit after a long time. Last time when he wanted to visit India,
During the Republic Day celebrations.
He could not do it because of the COVID restrictions and the COVID issues. But then he has come with a bang, and this is a part of his post-Brexit alignment with countries which he can look forward to have enhanced trade agreements, and that's what he's looking for at this moment, including they've said that they are looking at a free trade agreement with India
by the end of the year, hopefully.
Inshallah, yes.
But I think it's because mainly now the US is, I think, cold-shouldered Britain. And they are not very keen on this free trade pact with Britain and the US.
They have not spoken clearly about that. So he's coming to countries where he feels that there is an option, and he's coming with a flair. And it's a time when India also requires this sort of exposure. And he has come in a very understanding mood. I mean, he has spoken about our position on Russia, and he says that I understand India's position. He also has spoken about India's position on different political matters.
Being diplomatic.
Especially also on the factor that we wanted our fugitives back, Malya and Modi.
That's the main big thing. Yes.
He has said that Britain does not want to harbor these people who want to make Britain
loot poor countries
as a venue, as a place where they can avoid the legal system.
But London has always been a haven for such people, isn't it? All over the world, dictators take money and flee to Britain. It's allowed in Britain, and they say, the courts will decide.
Yeah,
courts never decide.
That's the explanation which he has given, that we have issued the extradition orders, but there are some legal complications.
That always happens,
sorted out. But then he, if you've seen the pictures, he has done a la Trudeau in the sense that he's been very flamboyant.
It's true.
Went to Gujarat, sat on a tractor,
performed the charkha.
Performed the charkha. So he has done all the populist things which he thinks will
all
make
the
him
great
popular.
photo opportunities. He climbed onto a tractor and
he wants to be popular in the Gujarati community in
Britain.
London.
That's the main thing idea, isn't it? But I mean, of course, up to 10 years ago, Britain was very, very pro-Chinese into their thing. There were a lot of exchanges in academics, in science, and a lot of things were going on.
Things happening. I mean, you recall that till some time ago, I don't know whether this precision continues. The number 2, our Narayana Murthy's son-in-law, was predicted to be the next prime minister.
Right, yeah.
But then they brought in this case of his wife's tax returns
with Russian investments. Though now they have divested it. They said they won't do any more business in Russia.
No. This is regarding the taxation. Her income tax.
Okay. Right.
His wife, being a shareholder in Infosys, 0.98%, I think.
Yeah, but it's got millions.
That share itself works out to millions.
Millions of pounds. Yeah.
But she doesn't put that in the tax claims in British thing, because under the double taxation, she pays taxes on them in India. So there is nothing legally wrong with what she has been doing. But the media has taken up in a way that she has hidden her income. And that did put our friend, I forgot his name, in a very defensive position.
Right.
So they say that he is no longer the number 1 prospective
contender for prime minister.
But then that position, that respect is that they could think about somebody of an Indian origin becoming a prime minister, which came. So that sort of relationship change is there in terms of perception within the people.
Interestingly, the Tatas have said that they will not do any more business in Russia. Yesterday they made a statement saying we will stop all our business activities with Russia.
They have stopped many. They basically Britain itself is following the Western line
of course,
as far as trade and businesses with Russia
Tata
is
is one of the
concerned.
biggest investors in India, in Britain.
Yeah. So, talking of that, there are pressures about Indian companies also not to do business with them. Infosys has stopped businesses with Russia.
Yeah, they have. So what's happening in this now? He said they have sent a British carrier group into the Indo-Pacific. I mean, not as part of Quad, maybe AUKUS. So what will it? How can it be complementary with Quad? That is the issue, isn't it?
Quad has somehow relegated itself to the background, and the military aspect, as it is, the military aspect was the AUKUS. Quad was never a military
alliance. Maybe why? Because India doesn't want it to be. I think that's the main.
That would be the historicity of the agreement as such, and then it was not right from the very beginning. It was not supposed
not
to
a military alliance.
A military alliance. Okay. It was to be a watch on the Chinese encroachment in the South China Seas and sort of keep a watch and a sort of a
keep the ocean open. I think that's the only idea.
Whole thing. But then China has stumped all those moves by this agreement with Solomon Islands.
Yeah, what is that now? New thing? They signed an agreement. It will be a base.
They signed an agreement which is not yet public. They have not disclosed the text. But there was a leaked document before which says that it allows Chinese ships to visit ports in Solomon Islands.
Warships also.
And there can be transfer of arms, people, personnel, replenishment. So there is a logistic support given to Solomon Islands population in terms of military and other software, hardware, and presence of China. You remember, if you recall, some time ago, Solomon Islands started recognizing China only
quite recently.
2019. Yes.
So there must be a lot of money changing hands. Obviously.
Of course. Money changing hands, and this would be a part of that agreement itself.
But I mean, there's nothing wrong in it. I mean, if US and India also has some reciprocal agreements in islands like Reunion, Seychelles, in Indonesia.
Because it doesn't affect us, we are saying nothing wrong. But talk to the Australians and talk to the New Zealanders.
Oh, they are very worried. Close. Yeah, like we were worried when a submarine surfaced near Hambantota in Sri Lanka.
So it's too far for us to be really concerned at this moment. But the Australians and New Zealanders are really worried about that because they see that this is just a thin edge of the wedge. At the moment, ships will call on the ports of Solomon Islands, but slowly, you don't know when they would suddenly be able to decide that they want.
They can stop this ship. They can stop that ship.
A base over there. Simple as that. And once that happens, then it is just.
It's very difficult to dislodge it once it happens. Then it becomes a matter of fact.
It gives the controlling position to the Chinese in the South China Seas and the waterways on that side. So that is another issue which the marine shipping gets affected.
So how do you stop it? Can't. It's very difficult to stop.
No, the Chinese have been doing this. They've been putting these
different islands,
what they call them. So from here to Madagascar to all places, they're taking these islands in strategic positions.
And make them into military bases.
Military bases and keep the sea lanes in their control. That's their strategy. To what extent they would succeed, because I'm sure there would be some counter measurements taken by the Americans, by the
coming to Ukraine. This morning, Zelensky said we are ready for unconditional talks with Russia, because this happened just after Russia said, okay, we have taken control of Mariupol and will soon be taking over Luhansk and Donbass.
But so the Americans don't agree with the Russians. You see, problem is that what Zelensky says doesn't really matter much.
No, it's by the US has to decide.
He's been manipulated by the Western. That's my opinion.
It is.
He's been manipulated, and just when Russians say that I've had my Mariupol, there's no reaction from the Ukrainian side. But the Americans say that jhoot bol raha hai. It's not correct. So this is something which Zelensky will have to take orders from all the supporting Western powers as to what happens. But logically speaking, because Russia has the entire control of the eastern
Ukraine,
and also the
and
southern
Crimea.
part.
Yeah. So this becomes a land bridge. Mariupol becomes a land bridge to
land bridge between their own
Crimea
people.
and Russia.
Yeah.
And
So-
once Donbass goes and Luhansk,
So
they take that
part
over.
of their Russian what you call aim has been fulfilled. But
That's what they wanted. They didn't want Ukraine. They wanted those two regions, isn't it?
the main part of the thing is to ensure that Ukraine does not join NATO. Now this will be decided if Putin and Zelensky talk to each other or the delegation agree to each other, because till that neutralization of Ukraine happens, Russia would not have achieved its intention.
Right.
And if you don't achieve your intention in a war, then you practically
You're a loser.
You are a loser. Simple.
But I have a feeling there could be a ceasefire. That's what I feel. If it is decisive that he has taken Mariupol and he has taken eastern Ukraine, then I think Zelensky will have no choice. About the joining NATO, that's a different thing altogether. We'll have to see what happens then.
As it is, when all the public appearances make it show that he is still processing membership to NATO. Because I recall seeing 2 days ago he took out a thick book.
That is a European Union membership.
Okay, European Union. I'm confused with NATO. Yeah, European Union is not an issue at all.
But even then, you see that if they give it to Ukraine, they'll have to give it to Turkey also. Turkey has been a long time member of NATO, but they have not allowed them into the European Union.
Turkey has different issues. Basically, Turkey does not recognize Cyprus because of the Northern
that's
Cyprus
another problem.
issue.
Yeah, the Greek,
so you cannot,
Greece.
You cannot be an EU member when you don't recognize an EU member. So, and there are wheels within wheels as far as Turkey is concerned. So now Turkey has more or less given up its attempts to become a member of the European Union.
Pakistan, one American House of Representatives, Ilhan Omar, the Somali, she was in Pakistan visiting Jammu and the Pakistan occupied Kashmir. And of course, the Indian government has raised objections to it. And one strange thing we noticed was Imran Khan. He has always been wearing that sherwani and things like white dress. That's how he was roaming around in Pakistan all these years.
Yeah.
Suddenly he was in jeans and t-shirt.
He's no longer the Prime Minister.
So now he's what? Now he's gone back to his Playboy days.
He's no longer compelled to wear his sherwani and use his pious
that's all gone.
That's all gone. Yes.
Now he was wearing sneakers, blue jeans and a tight t-shirt showing off his... I'm Imran Khan, okay.
He's a liberated man.
And visiting Jammu, occupied Kashmir, which is nonsense again.
It was a sorry exit for Imran Khan, I would say.
Yeah.
He was a good player, but then one of the complaints I had against him was his reverse swing.
Yeah.
He was too good for even for the Indian batsman. Gavaskar would have problems facing him.
And India, what's happening there? This sort of an upsurge in this communal violence in some areas. It's localized now, but hopefully it should not spark. I don't know. Somebody is trying to spark a civil war in India. Is there something like this happening?
Civil war is a very strong word, I would say.
Or large-scale clashes.
Let me tell you, I have seen these events happening in India. Ram Navami and Muharram is always a problem, and it has always been a problem.
But there's not been violence.
My problem is that why aren't people able to solve it out? Because every time on a Ram Navami, you'll hear that the procession was on and there was a rioting at something. It will be a small amount. It is not like the Jahangirpuri incident this time, which affected lots of people, and then it happened in different part of the country also. But this is something which our authorities, Indian authorities, have to take care of, because it is happening one too many times. And
I think the provocation, this time came from the now Ram Navami procession. Those people who participated there. I think I saw some videos where some of the participants in this procession were stood in front of the mosque and they were shouting slogans, and some of them quite abusive. We don't know whether that is a doctored video.
I don't know. The reality, I really don't know.
Because
But
both sides are showing different videos.
If you saw a different channel, they would show that no, they were going away peacefully. And
somebody attacked from behind.
Of the Muslim community that they were trying to put a flag on the mosque.
Which turned out to be fake.
Which turned out to be a fake thing. But point is, administration did a right thing by not allowing this procession to go during the time when namaz was supposed to be.
But they went.
But they still went there. So that is something which one has to see how the procession had reached. But then the bulldozing of the premises around that seems to be a bit for a objective person,
not natural justice.
Not natural
should have
justice.
been given.
Rightfully, Supreme Court has come in and stopped the bulldozing.
Should have been given notice.
Yeah, they have stopped it. But it is something which needs to be really taken care of. These processions, at least this Ram Navami Muharram thing is one too many. And it's my fault, your fault. This will continue because it is always both sides' fault. It's always from both sides. Now the onus will lie on who started it.
That's not. It shouldn't happen in the first place. Not why you started, I started. That goes on. That's not. They should put a full stop to it.
Yeah.
No violence. If you are violent, if you are a rioter, you go to jail. That's the main thing. Whatever the provocation is, it does not justify this violence.
And the statements by the ministers after this thing. I don't know whether you see that guy, one minister having his lunch and talking to Barkha.
Oh yeah, that's Madhya Pradesh talking to Barkha Dutt. That's pretty good.
That was even
like he doesn't care. I think
doesn't care.
That's what he said.
Don't care. He says okay. What he said was theoretically correct. That okay, if the court tells me, I'll do whatever the court says. But then that was being a bit too arrogant.
Okay. Let us hope this dies down so quickly.
Yeah.
Prime Minister Modi was at the Red Fort. Why was he saying that this is the first time it's happening after sunset? What happens after sunset? There shouldn't be anything at the Red Fort? This is the first time in history that a program was arranged after sunset in the Red Fort.
Normally, Red Fort you associate with
Independence Day, Republic Day.
Republic Day. Basically, Independence Day.
Independence Day,
speech by otherwise, you don't hear Prime Minister going up the ramparts of the Red Fort and giving a speech. So I think that way it was.
This is on the lawns of the Red Fort. This is the organized. This is Guru Tegh Bahadur's birth anniversary, 400th birth anniversary, which is a grand affair.
Grand affair, yes. And possibly he sort of wanted to say something to the Sikh community.
He kept on saying it is Aurangzeb destroyed, and he mentioned Aurangzeb many times.
Because Aurangzeb
was one who beheaded Guru Tegh Bahadur. Yeah, that's where I think so. And then he can sort of hit Aurangzeb on the head rather, isn't it? He kept on saying Aurangzeb destroyed. Now Aurangzeb is history, and those people are all gone. But Guru Tegh Bahadur lives on.
His memory is still on, and
he released a postage stamp and a coin. Good thing. I think the Sikhs should be happy with that.
I think when elections are coming on, so he has to prepare his position for that. So everything is started now.
Anyway, thank you, Praveen, and I think we covered quite some subjects today. So,
despite of nothing very substantial.
Although there's nothing happening in the world.
But things keep on happening, and if you really, even nothing happens, you keep reading the newspaper every day.
Something or the other. Anyway, thanks a lot. Thanks for watching this episode of our discussion series number 19, and we'll see you again, and you can watch us next week. Thank you, Praveen.
Thank you.